Hello and welcome to Restore 2022. We have launched this exercise of Bible reading 20 days ago, and so far we've been reading from the book of Genesis, but I am excited about what God has got in store for us as we come around God's word and as we read and as we try to understand what God is saying, as we go deeper in our knowledge of Him and as we live for Him. So today we're going to stop at Genesis chapter 41 and 42. Genesis 41 begins with two weird dreams that Pharaoh has, and no one is able to explain what's going on. It is very unusual in Egypt for Pharaoh to need to have an interpreter for his dreams, because Pharaoh is considered divine. The gods would communicate to him through dreams and their meaning. And in the same time, in this chapter, we read that it's taken 2 years for the chief cupbearer to remember Joseph's request for a good reference to Pharaoh about him. And once Pharaoh knows about Joseph, he is promptly releasing him from jail and brings him into his presence. Joseph listens to Pharaoh's dreams and interprets them faithfully. Even to Pharaoh, Joseph insists that it is God who's enabled him to interpret the dreams, not his own intelligence. One of the commentators is saying that verse 16 should probably read, "Except for God, who can announce Pharaoh's welfare?" There is no mention of the Lord being with Joseph as stated in the previous chapter. Yet this time, God is evidently with Joseph as he's miraculously brought out of prison. He's able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams, and he's also appointed the second man in command in the whole kingdom of Egypt. What an upgrade! God elevating Joseph in the government and demonstrating that his sovereign control over economic life of Egypt as he prepares to preserve Israel through the coming famine, which will become the focus of the next 7 chapters of Genesis. And then we move on to chapter 42, and then we've got this reappearance of Israel and his sons. There is this calamity across the neighboring countries of famine and people being desperate, and Jacob, Israel, sends his sons to Egypt to go and buy grain, and surprise, surprise, they are faced with Joseph, whom they don't recognize. It's been 21 years since the brothers sold Joseph into slavery. And now they're bowed before him in fulfillment of Joseph's youth dreams. Simeon is kept behind while they go back for Benjamin. Perhaps Joseph wants to make sure that his brother is still alive and did not have the same experience as him. And throughout the whole this chapter, we can observe the attitude of Joseph. But also we can see Joseph's brother's attitude changing. Faced with a personal crisis, they acknowledge their guilt. They regarded their suffering as a righteous divine punishment, and they began to place Jacob, Israel's interest, above their own. More to come in the next chapters as we see God's plan unfolding. Let's carry on reading the scriptures, and we'll catch up again tomorrow.